can achieve. But when people aren't trained to be realistic and honest with themselves and have serious critical conversations with themselves,
there's no way they're ever going to achieve it.
But
yeah,
that's
they're gonna think that they can achieve things that's beyond them.
Or they're going to be fine with mediocre and think
which
that
I
that's
feel
supposed
a
to be
lot
accepted.
of goes back. A lot of that has to do with social media, though.
Okay.
No, it really does.
A lot of it has to do with social media. But honestly, like for example, the whole thing when people want to become rich, social media has made it seem like it's so easy. Whereas a lot of times when people are going through those things, they don't really show you all the other things. Maybe when they got famous, they don't show you that they were hustling maybe 5 years before that.
Right.
So when you first see it, you're like, okay, they did it. It must have been easy, whatever.
And all the
Instagram models.
Yeah.
And all the
like
failed ideas and the things that they tried and failed and didn't work.
You
And
don't
failed
know.
experiments, startups,
Right.
everything else.
And I
Yeah.
think that's why the layers in society, that's why there's got to be the plumbers, there's got to be the dorm cleaners, there's got to be the people who
Right.
are at what society would claim to be the lower standards, which are most likely the more important
Mhm.
offices. But I think that's what gives the actors and the singers and the people who are actually
Right.
real professionals at their job the value.
Another
Because if
thing
everybody's
is-
a singer, it's like, you know,
Another thing is a lot of people don't know, but a lot of the actors that you see on regular television, especially if it's like their first gig or
Mhm.
second or third gig, they usually have other jobs. They
Right.
literally work other
yeah,
jobs.
yeah,
A
See,
lot of people don't know that.
And from what you're saying, that is the issue. Is everyone is chasing that hit, that dopamine hit, right? And you don't realize. I was thinking about it this week. When you have like a really great day, if every day was like that, then it wouldn't be a great day,
no, not at all.
right? So it's like there has to be an up and down. There is in our brain the pain pleasure balance. There has to be an up and down. There has to be. So it's like because they talk about like classes and the economy, and it's like there's always going to be the lowest class.
Right.
There's always going to be poor people.
Has to be.
Even if they're making 4 times what they're making now, if there's going to have there's always just levels. It's like someone's always shorter than somebody else. It's just like not everyone's not the same height. Everyone doesn't make the same amount of money. Everybody doesn't have the same amount of talent. So there's always, but when we're trained, right, to get that hit of dopamine, and so we're trying to make every day. That's how we get addicted. And that's why social media slid in and took that position that drugs and alcohol and all these things did for centuries, which is giving you that hit. Because that's what that is. On both sides of the screen. The person who's getting the likes or the views and the person who's just scrolling up and finding things that interest them, it's all little hits. But it makes it and less and less. I feel like I've quoted him too much, but Andrew Huberman. The way, because in the podcast, he was, Andrew Huberman, he's talking about dopamine and all that. And the way it works, it's a up and down. It fluctuates. And so what he was talking about is he was pointing out is that, often, and he talked about like if you have a big goal in your life, people have a big goal, they want to accomplish something and they work hard and they accomplish it. And then they get it. It's a big celebration.
Celebrate, yeah.
The next day, it's always like, what now? Right? And always has to go down. And it's like most people immediately go, and I got to find the next thing. Because that's the way our brain thinks. This is an example I think we can take for a lot of things. Because I think in a lot of ways of life and in the world, we mistake what we need. We confuse ourselves with what we think we need, with what we actually need and what's actually positive for us. And so we go, well, positive feelings, great feelings. This must be great. So it's like, well, I need to find the next thing. But it's like, it's actually a cycle and it resets. And if you ride that feeling out, that's that kind of duller, sadder feeling out, it'll reset and it'll go back up and you'll be able to, but if you don't, right, and you don't let it reset, every time it's a little less. The dopamine hits a little less. And that's the issue with social media. Like on a physical, neurochemical level, you're getting all these little hits.
Right.
And so it's like, it's very minuscule, but it's just enough to keep you going. But it's not enough because dopamine also, which he points out, it's not the reward. It's the thing that gives you motivation, the drive to achieve the reward. But you're getting just enough to keep you scrolling.
Right.
But not enough for you to go up and go and create something.
Right.
And go and so why would you go work for something when you have it right here?
So would you say that it's healthier for a person to, rather than being like, okay, I've done this, now what now? Drop that. I'm going to do something else. So would you say it's healthier for a person to be like, okay, I've done this. Now let me work on this on the basis, on the foundation of what I've already built, rather than I've done this. Let me set it off to the side and
Right.
start on something new.
That's a great idea, but something that a lot of the neuroscientists suggest is that you learn to find motivation and excitement from the actual act of doing the thing.
Okay.
Right.
Instead
the
of-
journey, which is so cliche but true.
It is, but it works. And instead of finding, like, you finish it and then you have that big celebration, or you start a new thing and you have that big celebration, find joy out of the work of doing it.
Yeah.
And that'll make it to where you can
let the
just keep going.
celebration be much less.
Yeah.
Right.
So the issue is you're driving for that hit, that celebration, and so it's not because like that's doable. There's nothing wrong with that. I think what is important is
I
taking
gotta
breaks. All right, go ahead. We'll keep going without them. Taking breaks. You know, sometimes you got to
drink a whole
sometimes,
bunch of liquids.
sometimes you got sometimes you got to take breaks, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I've been trying, dude. It's so hard, especially now with follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. With this,
Let's just plug it. You gotta,
Yeah.
What you at? Plug
follow us right now. Okay, with this, podcast and what I'm trying to do, and
If
then
you don't know how to follow us, subscribe button.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Other-
there's a
other
subscribe button.
aspects. Yes,
What's our?
I would grab your hand and guide you to the subscribe button, but I can't. With this is I have to be on Instagram and all these things. I'm trying to post. I'm trying to build an audience. I'm trying to do all these things, so I can't put my phone away as much. I can't set the
Right.
then like people. There's people who like if I put my phone away, I won't be able to contact them. And it's
Right.
important that I'm able to contact them and answer questions and all these things. And so it's hard because I want to, because I know I've heard all of the testimony of how positive it is to just put that down and have a free and I do often sometimes just for a small amount of time, like actively go, okay, I'm just going to put this down here.
It's a great habit to get
I would
into.
like to do it, but for me personally, all my jobs are literally
On
through
your phone.
computer. So
Yeah.
like literally, I learned something. I have an issue now. What I've been doing, because when I go to work or do computer work, I have to go somewhere new because I cannot do it at home.
That's a great thing to switch
when I
up
do
the
it at
environment.
home, it makes me just start going on other things that I'm not supposed to. So like sometimes I would literally just drive to a parking lot, set up my computer with my car, and just work on my computer,
The switching environment.
or
is great.
go. I have to
And
because
that's why a lot of times they
focus.
recommend that you don't have your job at home because you have that
Mhm.
relaxed feel, and it having the separation in your mind is really great.
Plus, really, your home is like it's great to go home away from your work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to me, because I used to think I used to think that was the best idea. Like, man, how awesome would it be to work at home? But then when I had to stay home and I injured my knee and I couldn't walk for 3 weeks and I had to stay home, I was ready to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like it's the most boring thing. I'm so tired of just. It's
These
like
walls.
you just watch. You're just
Watching
on
cut.
YouTube or watching shows or whatever. I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I want to get out of here. I want to go away. So it's like to not be able to just kind of separate that. Everyone's different, but
The great thing to do though, if you can, is like when you're working, put your phone in another room. And I know there's always, what if there's an emergency or what if someone needs to they'll call you. That people can get a hold of you if there's an emergency. Don't put it on silent, put it in the other room. And when it rings, maybe you have a certain ringtone for certain people or whatever, but you check it, or you can check it periodically. It is great that you get up and take breaks from work every once in a while to clear your mind.
Right.
Then you can go check your phone as long as you don't get sucked in and stay on it for 2 hours.
Right, but that's the issue because that is hard.
It is.
It pulls you in, man. And I know because lately it's a trance. I've been waking myself up out of it, where I'm going what am I doing? I've been trying to stop this.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is like a super strong magnet.
Every time you wake up, you gotta check your phone.
I mean,
I have it. I do. I stopped at one point. And I was like, man, I can get to work early now. And
Well,
then I went back into it again. I was like, oh man.
Time-
That is another thing, though, about the baseline of dopamine that Andrew Huberman talks about. If you wake up and you instantly, because that's what most people do, or a
Right.
lot of people do, they wake up, maybe their alarm's on their phone, so to snooze their alarm,
Mhm.
they grab their phone and instantly
exactly
they're
what
scrolling.
occurs.
So you're instantly screwing up your baseline dopamine for the day.
Listen, guys, we're doing great things here at the Lamplight Productions, and you can be a part of it for the low price of $0.00. Because all you gotta do is subscribe, ring the bell, ding dong. You can't go wrong, or don't. It's a free country. Do whatever you want. Though I don't know how you can live with yourself.